Журналісти, ми розпочинаємо наш третій брифінг на сьогодні.
Dear colleagues, dear journalists, we are to start our third briefing. If somebody...
For translation, please take equipment. Наш брифінг...
Our today's briefing is with Russian prisoners of war, which are conscripts. I would like to repeat and emphasize they are conscripts. We were told that there are no conscripts in Ukraine. Today, in this briefing, we have Nikolai Polshikov, born 2001, the driver of the infantry fighting vehicle. Anton Savin, born 2002, from tank of the Russian Federation. Andrei Pozdeev, born in 2003, military unit 31134, gunner operator of the infantry fighting vehicle. Alexander Morozov, born in year 2000, military unit 3016-6 of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Corporal, driver of the infantry fighting vehicle. Nia Zakhunov, born 2002, military unit 58198 of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. First, we'll let these prisoners of war to speak. We'll let them speak, and after that, we will switch to moderated Q&A session. I would like to remind you please keep calm and obey security rules. Thank you. So, who will start? I will start. Yeah, you're welcome. Good afternoon. My name is Alexander. We have gathered here with our comrades in arms, conscripts, to tell it the whole truth about what's happening here, to tell it to the whole country what is going on with this war in Ukraine. I'll start about myself. I'm Alexander Morozov, born June 8, 2000. I was born and I reside in the city of Moscow. On the 23rd year, 2021, I was drafted as a conscript to the armed forces. After that, I was in the military unit 31134 and the commander, Colonel Kharitonov. On the 24th of February, year 2022, we invaded the territory of Ukraine. Until the very last moment, we were told that these will be just military exercises in the Russian territory, some field exercises there, but finally those were lies. Since entering Ukraine, we reached the city of Romny, and our assignment was to set a block post there and just to monitor the cars coming, whether there are any weapons and so on. My mother, Svetlana Morozova, works in a construction company as a secretary. She is a secretary to the company top manager. And he is an influential and rich person, that company CEO. So he would probably be able to help my mother to come to terms with the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, so that some captain from Moscow, some officer, some captain would come here from Moscow and take me to Russia personally. Captain Zagruev should come and take me. In that way, Captain Zagruev came here to take me, and my battalion commander, Major Baldin, called me, and they told me that this captain has come personally to take me from here. After that, I was put into a separate car. They tried to transport me to Russian territory, but near the city of Sumy, we got into prison. Surprisingly, I thought that we will be beaten, diminished, and we will not be provided with any food and water, but it was completely different. We were provided with food, we were provided with water, we had some place to sleep, we were given warm clothing. Also in the field, we were given with dry food, which already expired. Its shelf life already expired, and it was terrible, those Russian dry foods. And our equipment, while we were going to the city of Romny, our equipment would break every now and then. And Ukrainians are a strong people, a strong nation. They are fighting strong. Their aviation, and they're just destroying our convoys completely. From our side, we have huge losses, but equipment, sergeants, officers, soldiers, and equipment, a lot has been lost here. And we want to stop it. Also, I'd like to say that here, I'm on my own will. All of us all here have come here to this press conference because we wanted to come here. We want to tell the whole world the truth about what's going on here. People are dying, children are dying, old people, old men and women and children are dying here, dying for nothing. Because of some Putin who keeps telling lies. He told the whole world that there are no conscripts, but you see us, 5 conscripts here who just want to get home. We just want to return home, and we just, you know, we were forced to come to Ukraine. And I would like to apologize in front of the whole Ukraine. I would like to apologize for coming here and express my condolences. And I want to get back home. And I don't want this violence in this country. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. I'm really sorry. I apologize. Please forgive me. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. I also support my friend. Also, thank you for this opportunity to speak here voluntarily, to speak in front of Ukrainian mass media and to address Ukrainian media and to address my whole country, first of all, and to address the whole world. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. You know, I did not give any interviews before. This is the first time, but I'll try and tell you my story, how it happened with me here. I'm Nikolai Polshikov. I'm a corporal. Lance corporal. I was born on April 3rd, 2001. In city of Voronezh, in Voronezh province, Alkhovatka district, village Alkhovatka. I reside in Ryazan Oblast, Ryazan province, in the factory settlement called Sapazhok at Korunskaya building 95, apartment 2. I was drafted as a conscript on June 30, 2021. And currently, I have served 8 months, or more than 8 months. My military service started with a training center. There, I was in the same training center with Alexander. The military unit number is 30616. The training center was located in the city of Kovrov in Russia. There, I was assigned my rank as corporal, and I was trained to be a driver of the infantry fighting vehicle IFV-2. After graduating from the training center, both Alexander and I were brought to the same regiment in Moscow province. It's located in the settlement called Kolynets in Narofominsk district. The unit number is 31134. This is the 15th Infantry Regiment named after Shavlin. We did not get to the same battalion, same company with Alexander. I was in a different battalion from him. The regiment commander is Under Colonel Lieutenant Colonel Kharitonov, and commander of my battalion, the 2nd battalion, is Lieutenant Colonel Volkov. And the company commander of my company is Captain Tutunnikov. After having served 2 months in this regiment, we were sent for some military exercise. From February 3 to February 24, we were having those military exercises in Kursk and Belgorod provinces of Russia. by the end of those military exercises, both myself and my friends got some facts in our minds that something is going wrong. There is something wrong. My company commander, Captain Tutunikov, was, I noticed that when he talks to somebody, he says, we will move to Kharkiv. There were also some points. For example, on the 23rd of February, our vehicles were marked, were labeled. When you apply markings, single unified marking to our vehicles, so that during the combat action you see who are our guys, what is our vehicle and what is not. I asked, why do we need it? And a senior officer told me that we are preparing our vehicles for combat action, for combat operation. But you know what? In my mind, in my brain, I did not believe it. I discussed it with my friends, like, you see, is it serious? Are we seriously going to go to Ukraine? And we came to the same conclusion that, you see, conscripts are not brought to war. We were always told that conscripts are not used during the war, so we did not believe it. But it turned out that we were told lies. And on the 24th of February, we created a huge convoy. We lined up in a huge convoy, and in the evening, and in 4 days, influenced by lies told by our commanders, we were brought to Ukraine, next to the town of Romny, near town of Romny. Sorry, I'm sorry. We spent 5 days there. We made our camp, field camp, and we spent 5 days there waiting for additional food, because food was coming to the end and fuel was coming to the end. We were waiting for food and fuel to refuel our vehicles. And in 5 days, we learned that the convoy with fuel is approaching us. And we went to meet that convoy with fuel. We reached a block post, and we didn't even meet our convoy as yet, but the shelling started, and during that shelling I was wounded. And I saw a lot of dead people, our people, a lot of wounded people. And our medics, our nurses quickly evacuated myself and many other people who were shelled and wounded back to that place near the town of Romny, where our field camp was located. While we were treated, I got information that with that convoy there was also a tank convoy having 62 convoy, but only 62 tanks, but only 16 tanks arrived, which means that there is a real war here. That's a real war. It's about huge losses for ours, and we are losing seriously. This is terrible. There were many dead people, Cargo 200, as we call them. I am 20 years old and I saw real dead bodies, which is terrible. After we were treated, bandaged, so all our wounded people were in medical vans ready to depart from Russia, but then an airstrike started the same way. And the regiment commander, Colonel Kharitonov, told I heard it on the radio. He issued a command, gather a convoy urgently, gather a convoy immediately and move to Russia quickly. There were more than 150 conscripts there in my battalion alone. And I know that there are also conscripts in the other battalion, in the battalion where Alexander is serving. They also had conscripts. I just don't know how many conscripts they had in that other battalion. But we gathered that convoy and we started moving to Russia. Wounded people were in medical vans. Those are armored cars, armored vehicles called Lens. We were at the end, at the rear of that column, at that convoy. And it just happened that we were lagging behind. We were there in that Lens vehicle, and we didn't know why we are lagging behind. So we got stuck. We got our vehicle out of there, that place, and started trying to get our convoy. And for some reason there was no communication with our commanders. We wanted to tell them that they should wait for us, but they just left us there. And that's it. While we were trying to reach our convoy, we saw two wounded people, our people on the bridge. We stopped there to pick them up. And while we were picking them up, those wounded people, shelling started, and our medic decided to surrender. Because we are alone here, we would not be able to leave that place in any way, we would not be able to flee. We were surrounded. So in that way, I got to the prison on the 7th of March. So again, I believe that it happened because of our commander's fault. They were there in front of us, and they didn't even think about checking where we are, what happened to us. They just forgot about those wounded people. They didn't think about those wounded people who may need help. Being a prisoner of war, I haven't seen any fascists here, any Bandera supporters. Even though, you see, just another fact to tell you about, even though I have been treated well as a prisoner of war, although some people have their families hiding in shelters, their children have to hide in basements and shelters here, still people treat us well. But still, I'm envious when I think about those people who managed just to pay some bribes to the commanders to stay there in Russia. Because most probably they knew what would happen here, and maybe they just had money, and people thought that they would like to pay. So from my company alone, 2 people stayed there to guard our tents, and maybe it's not just by chance that they stayed there. Maybe it would be worth buying that military card, which costs like 80,000. It would be easy to just buy this card to avoid the military service, because terrible things are happening here. I'd like to address separately citizens of my country, address parents whose sons are now serving there in the military, and those whose children are to serve in the military, may God stop it as soon as possible. Don't send your children here, because here, what is happening here is just terrible, terrible things, and you're not told about those things. Our soldiers die here in vain. Our friends are dying here in vain. Your children are dying here in vain. Your sons. Those parents who learn that their children are here at the moment, or if you already know it, keep your strength, keep your energy, and try and get us out of here. Because, you know, I don't see any sense in this war. Nobody needs this war here. It makes no sense, absolutely no sense. The armed forces of Ukraine are struggling to defend their country. We just invaded their home. We invaded it as fascists. Without knowing any goal. We just were brought here, you know, as without any tasks. We are just to be killed. Aviation and artillery, our aviation and artillery is bombing peaceful towns and cities. While I have been in prison, we changed places and we were passing various towns, and I saw destroyed buildings, shops, schools, hospitals. Maternity house, maternity ward. I was told that 21 persons died there. 21 persons died there. Pregnant women. It's very bad. It's terrible. It's a pity, you know, I feel such a pity when I learn that, you know, straight from the maternity ward, you know, the baby is just born and they have to already immediately hide that baby in the basement, in the shelter. That's bad. Many children are dying. No, I'm sitting here and it comes to my mind, you know, I saw those residents of Ukraine. Maybe they have lost their children. They're so angry at our country. And I'm sure it will never be forgiven. But I would really ask for forgiveness for invading your home. I apologize. I ask for forgiveness. I ask Ukrainians for forgiveness. I would behave in the same way, you know, if somebody invades my home with weapons. I understand you very well. You may not forgive us. Russia has done a lot of bad things, quite bad things for us not to be forgiven. Dear President of the Russian Federation, I don't know why are you saying that there are no conscripts here in Ukraine. Now, to the left of me, to the left side, I have 4 friends of mine who, out of your will, are committing those crimes here because of lies. You know, I'm sure that no one of these guys has shooted. I did not shoot any one time here because, you know, I was not told to shoot. We were just brought there, and then we were being killed, dear President. We were being killed. I believe that you are wrong. You are guilty of that. I ask you to stop it. May God make it all stop as soon as possible, that all Russian military people who have been brought here because of those lies would be brought home, returned home. Issue that order so that we get back home and you would never come to this country. It should be stopped. Comrade President, it should be stopped. It has to be stopped. I am very much ashamed on my own behalf and on behalf of all the Russian military and on your behalf, Comrade President of Russian Federation. Dear mother, if you're watching this video, I would also like to address my mother separately. If you are watching this video, if you are told that everything is fine, don't believe it, don't trust it. Russia has already committed this crime. I personally did not want it, dear mom. You know, I'm sure you already know, before leaving for here, I called you and I told you that I don't know what is to happen. I hope that we will stay, that everything will be fine, dear mom. So, almost everything is fine. You see, I'm getting food here and I'm alive. They could kill me, but I'm alive and I'm protected here. The only thing from which I may die here, dear mom, is because of some strike of our own aircraft. Please try, dear mom, to stop it. Please try, and our guys will return home. Only then you will see your sons, your children. That's it. Good afternoon, dear citizens of Ukraine. I appreciate this opportunity to speak here. I appreciate this opportunity to open eyes of Russian civilians. I'm Anton Savin, born on January 12, 2002. I reside in Perm area, city of Solikamsk, and I serve in the military since June 22, 2021, in the military unit 58-198, 1st Tank Regiment and the 2nd Tank Battalion, 5th Tank Company. On the 4th of February, our 1st Tank Regiment, where I serve in the military, got an order whereby led by Colonel Lapin, our regiment commander, we have to get to military exercises in Voronezh Oblast, in Voronezh province. And on the 4th of February, on a train, we moved to Voronezh province, and on the 5th of February, we arrived there. The 1st Tank Regiment was intense in field conditions, and we spent a week and a half there in those conditions. In a week and a half, contract soldiers from the 1st Tank Regiment left for Belgorod province, and we, the conscripts, remained there for 4 more days. After that, our company sergeants got orders to dismantle our tents, to dismantle that field camp, to put it, to load it onto wheeled vehicles, trucks, Kamaz trucks, Ural trucks, infantry fighting vehicles, and armored personnel carriers. And we were moving in those vehicles. We, conscripts with our company sergeants, moved to Kursk province. Upon arrival to Kursk province, we spent 1 day there. And on the next day, we gathered all our chattels again. And in Kunsk province, we were told that we will stay there and we will not move to Belgorod Oblast, where our contract soldiers are located. But the next day, we were told that we have to dismantle our tents to gather to collect our chattels, and we were told that now we will move to that Belgorod province to join our contract soldiers and our officers. The next day, in the daytime, we were moving in wheeled vehicles, Ural trucks and Kamaz trucks, and we reached Belgorod province. We were met by our officers and contract soldiers, and we had our T-72 tanks there. And we spent one day there, after which, upon the order of battalion commander, Captain Kyiv, we lined up into a convoy of tanks, and in that convoy we moved, and we were told that we would have some exercise. We were moving for a couple of days, and we stopped. We stopped to spend the night somewhere, and in the morning we were lined up, and the battalion commander issued the order to our company commanders for them to take our mobile phones from us, and we gave our mobile phones to them, after which we were told that we would go to Ukraine, that we would carry out a military assignment to get the city of Kyiv in order to liberate Ukrainian civilians from so-called Bandera people and neo-Nazis. We were told that we would be awarded with money after the end of this mission, of this operation. We did not have an opportunity to leave, to flee, after we were told these things. We did not have an opportunity to go anywhere. We were put into our tanks, and in the evening we started moving towards the border of Ukraine. On the 24th of February, in the morning of the 24th, we were already in Ukraine, and we were moving across Ukrainian territory for a couple of days. We stopped to sleep, to refuel our vehicles, and in literally a couple of days, our foodstuffs were coming to the end, and there were those dry foodstuffs with their shelf life already expired. I had one box in my tank, and it just turned out that on the way there, our equipment broke, and we had just 6 remaining tanks, 6 tanks out of 30, out of the whole battalion. We had just 6 tanks, 2 armored personnel carriers of the reconnaissance company and of the communications company, and we were still with our battalion commander. After there was the very first time for the whole time we spent in Ukraine, for the first time ever we were shelled in Ukraine. Our battalion commander, Captain Kyiv, ordered us to make a U-turn and to leave in our vehicles. We didn't shell, we didn't shoot from our tanks, we didn't shoot from our assault rifles. We just started leaving, but the shelling continued on us. And then, again, as ordered by Captain Kyiv, the battalion commander, we left our vehicles, our tanks, and we started just running across the forest. And I think he did it to save our lives, because it was much easier to live on our foot than to continue moving in our vehicles and our tanks. We spent 4 days just walking, running through forests, circumventing settlements. We never met any military nor civilians, but in 4 days it just turned out that we met some Ukrainian military people, and our officer, Captain Kyiv, managed to come to terms with them. He left the weapons, his weapons, and went to contact them to surrender. And after he got back with one of Ukrainian military people, we had put all our weapons and armored vests and everything aside, and so we surrendered and became prisoners of war in Sumy province, in city of Romny. I would like to address the president of our country, who kept telling lies and continues to lie to our people even now. He is saying that there are no conscripts, there are no conscripts there, that there is no shelling, there is no combat action in Ukraine at such a large scale as it actually is. That we are not here I want to see a government change in our country so that Russians would never come with weapons to Ukraine again, never ever, so that civilians would not die. I'd like to ask for forgiveness, ask civilians and all people in Ukraine for forgiveness. Please forgive our nation, forgive our government, forgive us for invading your territory, for destroying peace in your country. Please forgive us. That's it. Good afternoon. I am Nia Zakhunov. I was born in January 17, year 2002, and I'm a conscript since June 21, year 2021, in military unit 58198. The 1st Tank Regiment, it's 1st Tank Battalion, 4th Tank Company within that battalion. And on the 4th of February, upon order of Colonel Lapin, we were sent for military exercise into the fields. Initially, we were based in Voronezh Oblast. We were in tents, and after that we were brought to Belgorod. And from Belgorod on the 24th of February, we started moving towards the Ukrainian border. We were moving, we had been moving for 2 days, slept in our tanks, refueled our tanks, and after the first combat action started, our battalion commander, Kyiv, decided to make a U-turn, to leave our vehicles there and just to walk through the forests. After that, we spent 4 days walking around those forests, and from Sumy province, near the city of Romny, we surrendered to become prisoners of war. It was, we were afraid of surrendering initially, but it turned out that they're very good, kind people. They gave us food immediately. They helped some of my friends by providing them necessary medicines. They helped us to change our clothes because everything was wet, because we spent 4 days in those forests. They treated us well. Also, I would like to add that this war makes no sense. It all makes no sense. We, the conscripts, have been brought into this war. We, the conscripts, who haven't seen any real combat action before. And I hope that many of us would not like to see it in the future. I would like to ask the whole Ukrainian people for forgiveness for crossing the Ukrainian border, for coming your home with weapons, for bombing your cities. That's it. Good afternoon. I am Andrei Pozdеев, born on June 16, 2003. I was born and I reside in Irkutsk Oblast, Bukhansky district, Sirotkino village. On the 23rd of June of 2021, I started my military service as a conscript. I was drafted to the military unit, the training center where junior military specialists are trained as a gunner operator of infantry fighting vehicle Model 2. And I spent 4 or 5 months there, and after that I was sent to the 15th Infantry Regiment, military unit 31134, regiment commander Colonel Kharitonov. And since then I was serving in that military unit. And before the new year, we were told that we would have some military exercise, some mission on the 10th of January, but then it was postponed. And at the end of January or early February, we loaded our vehicles onto train platforms, and we were brought to the city of Kursk, and we made our tent camp there, and we spent about 1 month in Kursk, and there was no military exercise, no tactical exercises, no combat exercise. We just spent time just living there. And then on the 20th of February, we were transported to Belgorod province. There again, we were residing in tents, in field conditions, and then we were told that we have to move across Russian territory in our vehicles. It would take 3 or 4 days. We loaded our dry food boxes, lunch boxes, and we were lined up before leaving, and we were told, don't be afraid, nobody would send you to Ukraine. Because, you know, there was some information, some rumors, some people realized that maybe they're preparing the vehicles, the equipment. Many people kept talking about the war, but we were reassured, don't be afraid, we just moved there, it will be just movement across Russia, Russian territory. And in the night from February 23 to February 24, our convoy started moving. I fell asleep, and in the morning we were lined up, and we were told, for those of you who don't understand this yet, you're in Ukraine now. And all those statements by Vladimir Putin that this military operation has no conscripts are lies. He's a liar and a military and a war criminal. A liar and a war criminal. In the Russian army, there have already been lots of losses. I know that there has already been about 13,000 soldiers killed and a lot of equipment, because Ukrainians are brave warriors. They are fighting bravely, defending their land. When we were moving toward the city of Romny, we were near that city, made our field camp there, and on the way there we saw a lot of damaged equipment, vehicles there, tanks, armored personnel carriers, infantry fighting vehicles, and it scared us, because I did not believe till the very last moment that we would be sent for some combat action, for some combat mission. We stopped near the city of Romny, and we spent about 8 days there. And in 3 or 4 days, we ran out of food. And we were waiting for a long time for our convoy to approach, and the logistics were not supported. So our convoys with food could not reach us. And we were waiting. And on the 6th or 5th, on the 5th of March, we were told that we, the conscripts, had to be brought back to Russia to reformat our troops, and only contract soldiers would be sent here. And we started preparing for leaving, and there was an airstrike, and because of that airstrike I was wounded in my cheek and my leg. I approached our medical post and got first aid, and in the morning of the 6th of March we lined up our convoy and started moving toward the border of the Russian Federation. We were moving in that convoy, within that convoy, and then a medical one approached, and our nurse, the warrant officer, told me that he can take me with me to bring me to Russia as soon as possible to keep my wounds clean. He spoke with Captain Bratislavsky, my company commander, and I was put into that medical one, and they took my assault rifle and ammo from me, and we started moving. And our medical one was put at the end of that convoy, and there were problems with communications, but our communications did work somehow, so we were put to the back that convoy. And during that movement there was part of the road where trucks could move, but wheeled vehicles, some of them passed, and our medical passed, and some other trucks with fuel remained there because we were unable to pass that part of the road. We asked our commanders to wait until we find some way to circumvent it, but they just left us. Our commanders just left us there. We found some road and we started moving there, and we got stuck there in some pit. And in the morning we somehow released our van and we continued our movement, and we found some trace of our convoy and we were following them, and near the city of Sumy we were shelled, and our warrant officer, our nurse, our medic, started shouting, "Don't shoot, don't shoot, we surrender, we have wounded people here." We had 8 wounded people in our van, and we were unable to open the door from inside. And our warrant officer approached, and our nurse had an assault rifle. We did not have our firearms, and our warrant officer told us, "I will open the door now, and you give me your firearms. If you start fire, I will be killed." He opened the door, and we gave him an assault rifle, 2 grenades, and a knife. And we were brought. We left the one, and we were brought into the truck and brought to the investigation custody prison in the city of Sumy. And surprisingly enough, even though we are aggressors and invaders and occupiers, we were treated very well in that custody as prisoners of war. We were told previously that we would be tortured, beaten, and so on, but nothing like that happened. We were given food and clothes. We were provided with a place to sleep. And now, even now in this city, when there are air alarms every now and then, Ukrainians hide us with them, jointly with them, and they give us food and water. And now the only reason, the only thing that may cause my death is airstrikes by Russian aviation. When I was sketching my speech, there was an airstrike against residential block. There were 2 cruise missiles there, and that's terrible. I'm scared. I would like to address all those Russian citizens who do care. I would like to address the government. Stop this war. That's not any military operation. It's a full-scale, full-fledged war where women are dying, children are dying, old people are dying. And nobody awaits us here. We don't need to liberate anybody here. There are no Bandera people or Nazis, as we were told, and nobody needs to be liberated here. People are just dying here, simply dying. And I'd like to ask for forgiveness, to ask the Ukrainian people for forgiveness on my own behalf and on behalf of all of us. For us, he brought such a damage. Every day people are dying because of shelling, because of airstrikes, because of artillery shelling. Please forgive me. That's it. Now we can switch to Q&A. If you have any questions, please speak into the microphone. But please be brief, because we are running out of time. So, in the 21st century, it's difficult to imagine such a situation, even in third world countries, that there's no internet. It's difficult to imagine. So my question for you is very simple. When you entered Ukrainian territory, based on the regions that you entered, most people that died of your shelling and your bullets were just Russian-speaking people, most of them. If you can use the internet, I understand that you're 18, 20 years old, so you can use the internet. So my question for you is very simple. It cannot be that since the very first days, not minutes or hours, but at least the very first days, you could not avoid understanding that you are killing peaceful civilians, many Russian-speaking people. You cannot. You did see that people are standing against your tanks, just lay people with bare hands. So my question is very simple. When you enter the territory of Ukraine, where did you get information? Where did you get reliable information? What pushed you towards continuing that combat mission? May I answer? I can answer as follows. No, but nothing was pushing us. We are just scared. We as a country, because it's just structured in such a way that if we go against our people, either we would be killed, we would be shot by our people, or we would be brought to prison for a long time. So we only had fear, and we were moving forward, and we hoped that nobody would shoot at us, and we would not shoot at anybody. That's what I think. We were only pushed by our fear against our own country, that we would be killed by our own people. So there was a to really use the internet. You were able to use the internet. No, we were. They took our mobile phones from us, so there were just rumors among us. Somebody would hear something and tell others in person. But most importantly, the most important thing I'd like to say is that we had this fear against our country. We were unable to say no. Sorry, Alexander. I would like to add something. I would like to say that at least we did not know what to do. We just came here and we had zero idea, no idea whom to kill. We did not have any such idea. We were just following our commanders who were bringing us somewhere to some unclear place. We didn't know what they're doing, what we are doing. Even when moving here, I don't know about the 1st battalion, but our 2nd battalion, when we were moving here, we were not attacked by anybody. We spent 4 days moving, and I did not even believe that I'm in Ukraine. We were not attacked by anybody.
Italian press. I would like to know what your commander told you about NATO. If you when you invade Ukraine, you'll face also NATO or not?
Я ничего не понял.
Can you repeat the question,
Yeah.
please?
I would like to know what your commander told you about NATO. If when you invade Ukraine, you'll battle also against NATO, against other countries.
Разрешите, я скажу.
Let me speak. When we were still there in our regiment, even before this mission, even before leaving for the fields, our commanders talked between themselves, and I heard, and I only saw in the news that on the border of Ukraine there are some American military bases, NATO military bases, and that they are moving to our borders. They're approaching our borders. There was some conversation like we are moving for we are going for military exercises, and contract soldiers would defend our borders, Russian borders. It was not told that we would move anywhere. That's the only thing I heard about NATO. That's it.
You are not professional soldiers. And did you see during the battle your comrades died? You know, what you think about this? What, you were shocked? You never believed to see something like that? You were the first time under fire, you know, in combat. Can you tell us something?
Fortunately, I did not see my friends dying or other people dying, because we spent 2 days moving in our tanks, and after the very first shelling, we just left our tanks, our vehicle there, and we fled. Nobody was wounded, nobody was injured at the moment we were leaving that place. I only saw how 2 people were wounded. 2 of our reconnaissance guys were wounded just before we surrendered. That's it.
Against the war and against Putin and so, you are not afraid for your family or when you go back to Russia, you know, about what you said today?
Могу я сказать?
I'd like to speak. Of course we are afraid, but now, even now, I'm sitting here and I understand that I have to speak this truth, to speak out this truth, even for the reason that other people like ourselves should not be sent here, that people will continue living their lives, that nobody from Russian Federation would be killed here. Yes, I am scared, and all guys are scared. We don't even understand partially what to do after that. That's it. But anyway, there will be some problems there at home, I think. But I hope, you know, I don't even know what to say, but I hope that everything will be fine finally. That's it.
Last question, yes. In Italy, our public opinion, the youngs like you, are very shocked of this invasion. Have you any message to the youngs like you in Italy?
Ребят, я думаю...
Guys, you know, I think that in Italy, they would not tell you lies and send you to some war. I think that everything is fine with you. I think you have intelligent, smart government. I think you have intelligent commanders in your troops. So I think that you should not be afraid. We were fooled around. We were told lies. We didn't want it, and we don't want it now, and nobody wants it. Just when we are brought here to be killed, you know, we are lost. Maybe somebody is brought intentionally. If somebody wants on their own, you know, I would be ashamed on behalf of such person who wants on their own to come here. Or it may happen that somebody was told that in Ukraine there are fascists, Bandera people, and that person would believe it and would come here to kill. So I think that it's first of all the guilt of our top commanders, commanders-in-chief in Russian Federation, because military people themselves, not all of them are guilty. They just believe in what their commanders told them. I'm Olga, and I work for Ukrainskaya Pravda, Ukrainian Truth. My question is for Anton Savin. You said that at some point in time they took your mobile phones from you and they told you that you'll get to go to Ukraine to liberate Kyiv from Bandera people and from Nazis, if I'm not mistaken. Could you please tell us what was the plan to get people, what was your route, and what was the time frame they ordered you? No, we were not told anything about that. We were just told that there will be that task, that mission, that will go to Ukraine. And what sort of plan they had, we don't know. My task was to move within that convoy, that's it. Also, some Russian military had their own parade uniform. Did you bring it with you? No, no, not us. Any more questions? Thank you, everybody, for joining this press conference. See you tomorrow.
Follow us on Telegram channel for next updates. Thank you.